Creeper, and today I'm back with another Doctor Who list ranking. We're talking about TARDIS exteriors today. The TARDIS exterior, of course, being that used by the Doctor, the TARDIS, all that sort of thing. We're not talking about the Master's TARDIS, we're not talking about the Rani's TARDIS. If you want to know what I think about those specific designs, exterior and interior, I've made a video for just exactly that. All the other TARDISes, I like to call them, the Masters, the Ranis, the meddling monks, the bloke from Shada, all that sort of stuff, so you can go and check out that video on the channel there. But yeah, today is just about the exterior of the Doctor's TARDIS designs. There's been many different designs over the years, varying different traits and things about each box, which we're going to get into and talk about, but there's certain preferences I have and certain preferences I don't have. The interior will not be counted towards the ranking of this list at all. I've already done an interior TARDIS video separate to this one, which is also on the channel if you haven't already seen it. And I have made this video before, back in 2018, just before Jodie Whittaker's first series. And yeah, not many new TARDIS designs, literally just the one. And I think I even included the Whittaker TARDIS design on my last video as well. So this is just an update, a sort of me rethinking my list, me rethinking the slots and changing my mind about a few things. Because I've had 2 years, I'm a wiser man now, I've had time to think, I've had time to pick everything up, I've had time to watch more Classic Who, just really mull over my choices of New Who and all that sort of thing. And hopefully have a little bit more of an analytical view towards these boxes and sort of which ones I prefer. So yeah, without any further ado, just remember this is totally my opinion. If you want to tell me your favourite TARDIS boxes, your top 10, your top 5, your top 3, your top 1, I don't care, just put them in the comments below, I'd absolutely love to read them. Anyway, let's get started with this list with number 10. This one is one of the 3 Tom Baker exterior boxes, used between seasons 14 and 17, I think. I could be totally wrong there now, that's just a little note for the rest of this video. If I get any little facts like dates wrong, or seasons wrong, please don't just go, oh, you got this wrong. I was like, I know, I probably have got it wrong, I'm just accepting it by now. But what I am doing is I'm just going to go through and I'm going to talk about the designs. The getting the dates wrong and all that sort of thing occasionally does happen. It doesn't mean, it doesn't change how I feel about the box still stays in the same ranking position. So yeah, let's talk about this one. This sort of varies from story to story, as most classic boxes do. However, this one, it was always the one that stuck out to me. Now, I don't hate it, I don't despise it, I don't hate any of the TARDIS box designs. In fact, I actually quite like it to an extent. I just feel that there's something off about it. The doors feel too skinny, the box feels too fat, the roof feels too boxy and flat. There's no like escalated like sort of stair to it. I don't know how you call it, like stairs or sort of steps I suppose that will lead up to the roof of the TARDIS. It just feels very it feels like something I could build in Minecraft, you know what I mean? It just feels very blocky and very crap, and I just really am not a fan of it. You know, I love the little inclusion of the sort of police light from Shada and the sort of back end of season 17, so I really do like that element of it, but the rest of the time I just can't really find myself liking it, or even just looking at it and going, "Ooh, I really like this design." In fact, I actually like the one that was released with B&M more. They released the actual Shada TARDIS toy set, and the actual box for that is just a standard classic mold, but it looks so much better than the actual Shada box. It's got the lovely little police light, it's got the right colour scheme, it's got the right windows and all that sort of thing, and I love that. But what I don't love is just the stocky nature of this one. It just feels really off-putting to look at sometimes. In 9th place, we're going to have a little bit of a controversial one. This is Matt Smith's TARDIS, used through Series 5 all the way through to Series 7 of the new series of Doctor Who. I don't dislike any of them on this list, and I certainly don't dislike this. It is used really well quite a few times. I love when this version of the TARDIS has the lovely glowing windows and the general sort of lovely effects of it. Just whenever it's in proximity of some atmospheric lighting area, it always stands out, it always looks gorgeous, and even when it's not, it still looks great. I just think, in terms of my personal preference for a TARDIS, it's basically the same design as the Capaldi one. However, and I'm basically the same design as the David Tennant and John Hurt one as well. So that's the thing, it's not too different other than the colour and the St John's Ambulance sign. The St John's Ambulance sign for me does nothing. I mean, you can give or take that, it doesn't actually matter to me too much. The colour is dark, I guess. It's a darker design than what we've had before, and I don't hate it. I actually don't mind it too much, but I definitely prefer the TARDIS to look lighter or a different shade of blue. I do like the TARDIS blue, I just don't... I think I've got tired of how this looks. It looks too much like a toy or a plasticky action figure when I just want the TARDIS to look wooden or like a proper police box, and this just feels too artificial, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't mind it, I don't hate it, so it's really hard to try and criticise it and justify why it's so low down on the list. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of it. Right next to that we've got John Hurt's box as well, which is basically just the same one, or well, basically David Tennant's box, but with a little bit of scuff on it, a little bit the windows bashed in a little bit, and a classic light on the top. Love the classic light. Love the scuff. I actually quite like having a TARDIS that's a bit scruffy, a bit used, a bit all that sort of thing. So seeing the shots in Day of the Doctor, which isn't very many to be fair, it still looks great. I still think it looks really atmospheric, kind of creepy in a way in some shots, and I actually really like that look. It's a one-off design. It was used in one episode, well, 2 episodes if you include Night of the Doctor. It fits that Doctor's theme and feel perfectly, and yeah, no, it's quite nice. I don't really like the New Who mould of all the boxes looking a bit stocky and a bit big and a bit fat. I do prefer the classic look to that, obviously, other than the Bueckert one, which we've already talked about. So I'm not too big of a fan of this one. However, no, I don't mind it. I think it works quite well for what it was trying to do, and yeah, as a one-off TARDIS, it looks great, so it goes up. Similar to that of the Recon Scout, like it looks great as a one-off. Probably wouldn't want to see it again, ever. In 7th place, we have the Peter Capaldi TARDIS. Now, this really hurt to put this so low down on the list again, because I love all of the TARDISes. I love all the TARDIS designs, and this one I especially really like, more so than Matt Smith's and John Hurt's, despite the similarities, because this is basically the same as Matt Smith's TARDIS, with a few minor differences. The shade of blue that they actually used on the box and all that sort of thing is a little bit lighter, and it just feels a little bit nicer to look at. It's a little bit more crisp, it's a little less dark, I suppose, which I actually quite like. The windows through most of the series have got this lovely sort of lighting tinge to it. It's got this lovely sort of cyan blue effect on the windows, which I really, really love. That changes from episode to episode, obviously, but in most of the episodes, this TARDIS looks gorgeous. They really push the whole emphasis of making this TARDIS look genuinely beautiful to look at whenever it's on screen. I really love what they try to do with it. I like how it occasionally changes. Sometimes the windows are blacked out, sometimes they've sort of got like a bluey sort of cyan colour. But yeah, no, I love this TARDIS box. I really, really do. Again, it's just that sort of stocky feel to it. And again, it does, similar to Matt Smith's, feel a little bit like an action figure. Not like an actual wooden box. But yeah, no, I do love it. I do think it's great. I just don't prefer it to the others. In 6th place, we have the first Hartnell box, the first of 2 Hartnell boxes that I'll be talking about today. This was used in seasons 1, 2 and 3 before they changed it up for seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. I really like this design. I don't think it's a bad one. It does change basically from episode to episode. Sometimes it's got the St. John's ambulance sign, sometimes it hasn't, sometimes it's got a different lamp, sometimes it's got a different roof. Because the budget and all that sort of thing, it does occasionally change more so than people might be comfortable with or people will be even happy with. So yeah, it is a bit of a weird box. However, for the majority, I really, really do like it. I think it's a real big standout box for me. I love the taller roof. It gives off that sort of classic-y vibe. I don't know what to say about it. I just love the design. I love the little windows folding in as well. That was always a little bit fun in the Dalek invasion of Earth. I just love the general demeanour of this box. Because it's the first one, it gives me like these lovely little vibes. I'm like, oh, it's really nice. I really like this box. So despite the fact that it does change almost every episode, occasionally it has 3x3 windows on the side for some reason. I'm talking about You, the Massacre. But, other than that, it's fine. It does the trick. It's a nice box. I just don't prefer it to the others. In 5th place, we have the Jodie Whittaker TARDIS box. Used in series 11 and 12 of Doctor Who, the new series. I do adore this one, and I know I talked about not liking the new series boxes being a bit stocky. This one does bring it back a little. This box is significantly smaller than that of all the other New Who boxes. I've seen this box in real life, along with, I think the ones I've actually seen and stood in real life are this one and the Tennant one, either at a convention or the premiere, the series 11 premiere that I went to. It's a gorgeous box. It's hard not to love it when you see it in person. The colour is such a gorgeous blend between a sort of like dark green and blue. Like, it's still blue, obviously, but it's got that little dark green tinge to it where it makes it this lovely little colour, in-between colour, which I really like. The lighting, every time the light, I mean, the sort of cinematography of Series 11 and 12 anyway, I've always praised as looking stunning, as looking gorgeous. I love the blue light, but also the implements of other sort of lighting, whether the TARDIS windows look bright or whether they, all that sort of thing. Like, everything about this TARDIS is just really nice to look at for me. Yes, it's a bit stocky. Yes, it's a bit odd. I can see why people might not like this or might prefer the Smith and Capaldi era versions of the TARDIS. However, I can't help but like love it. It's just a really nice looking box. It does look a bit weird from some angles, I'll give it that. However, for the most part, I think it's a very, very nice looking TARDIS box. It's very pristine. I love the windows being like sort of slitted and sort of like lines, like vertical lines. I really like that. And just generally, I just love how this feels like a proper police box. It feels almost like one of the originals, and that's one thing I really go to with the TARDISes for me. I like the smaller police box sign. I like the black pull to open handle thing. I basically just love everything about it. I think it's a very, very nice looking TARDIS, and I haven't found many people who disagree with me on that one. In fourth place, we have the Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy TARDIS, used from seasons 18 all the way to 26, one of the long running Doctor Who TARDIS boxes. The colouring has changed from time to time, but the overall shape and feel is mostly the same. Used by the 5th Doctor, 6th Doctor, 7th Doctor and the 4th Doctor, obviously, as I mentioned previously. I do love this design. It's a very nice and a very different looking box. It is just the standard classic box for me. I really like it. It's definitely not my favourite classic box, that has to be said. I don't think it's the best one out there, but it feels the best sort of standard for a TARDIS. Like, if you're going to make a new TARDIS, you're going to start from scratch, use this as a sort of baseline. Look at this and go, right, how can we take from this? It's got the perfect dimensions and roof where it feels like a sort of new Who TARDIS. However, it's got the sort of thinner doorways and the sort of thinner feel of the box, which New Who doesn't have, which I feel really sets it off. So looking at some shots, especially towards the end of the 7th Doctor's era, I really do love. The colour is a bit bright towards the end of the sort of 7th Doctor era. I do prefer how it looks throughout Peter Davison, Colin Baker's era, where it's sort of like a darker shade of blue mixed with a little bit of light. However, I do feel that somewhat when the 7th Doctor does take it on, it does, for some reason, it just looks brighter and it looks like a really sort of light blue, which I don't mind too much. However, I'd prefer it when it's sort of darker. So yeah, no, it's a great looking box. It's not my favourite classic design, but it's probably the go-to. If I was going to start making a new TARDIS box, I'd start with this and then work out what to do next. Third place, we have the TV movie McGann Box. I really love this one. Only showing up in technically one episode of Doctor Who ever. But a really, really nice design. It's a sort of odd one. Again, it's very similar to that of the later, the one we've just talked about, the later classic series box, the one owned by McCrory and Colin Baker and Peter Davison, all that sort of thing. It's very similar to that, other than it has a few little differences. The roof, for example, the police box signage is actually sort of further pushed out, which gives the roof a sort of wider sort of feel. The doors are also more square shaped, and by square shaped I mean the sort of the windows and the sort of individual little things are less rectangular, more square, so that fits in more with the sort of New Who feel, which I actually don't mind too much, obviously because I grew up with that. But overall, it's just a very, very nice looking TARDIS. The lighting and everything is done perfectly, and it's not, again, not my favourite classic box. However, it's definitely up there for a reason. In second place, we have one that is basically pure nostalgia. This is the 10th and 9th Doctor TARDIS, the Eccleston Tennant version of the TARDIS, which was used on Series 1 all the way to Series 4, technically Series 5 if you want to include the 11th hour. I absolutely adore this. I can't help but adore this. It's a very, very nice looking TARDIS. Yes, it's a bit chunky. Yes, it's a bit dull from time to time, but the way again that they use the lighting may not be as adventurous as sort of Capaldi's era or Whittaker's era or anything like that, but it looks gorgeous. Just looking at the shots that you see from like School Reunion when Sarah Jane discovers the TARDIS, the nighttime shots in sort of Boomtown or anything like that, it just looks great. It's a very nice looking box, and I grew up on this era of the show, so naturally I am very nostalgic towards this box because it's my TARDIS, and if I was to have a TARDIS that I would travel in, it would probably be this one. Maybe not my favourite exterior, obviously, but there's a reason it comes second place, there's a reason it comes so high up on the list, and that is because I can't help but love it. It's a great looking box, it fits Tennant's era perfectly, it gives me a lovely burst of nostalgia for the Russell T Davies era of the show, and I just can't help but love it, it's brilliant. And finally, in number 1, we have one that people might disagree with, the Hartnell, Troughton, Pertwee and Bueckert TARDIS box, used on seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, all the way through the entirety of the Troughton and Pertwee era, through some of Tom Baker's era, and the last 2 stories of the Hartnell era, The Smugglers and the 10th Planet. It's a great looking box. It's one that again does change from time to time for some reason. Again, occasionally it has the St. John's ambulance sign. For some reason, occasionally the pull to open sign is on the other side instead of the way it should look on the proper side. I disagree with that, sure. However, through most of the era of this TARDIS, it looks incredible. I love the fact that it's just the roof. It's the roof with the sort of bit taken out of the middle of the thing, just above the sort of police box sign. It looks gorgeous in every era that it's in, despite how sometimes it might get changed, sometimes it might not look as good, but in Power of the Daleks it looks gorgeous, for example. 10th Planet, it looks incredible. Like the Time Monster and sort of like mid sort of Pertwee era, it looks incredible, and even through the beginning of Tom Baker's era with Robot and Terror of the Zygons and Android Invasion, like even it just looks great everywhere. I can't help but love it. It is my favourite TARDIS design, and for a very good reason. It changes and changes and changes quite a lot, but it is without a doubt my favourite. I wish Character Options would make an accurate version of this with the lovely bit of roof taken out, and it just works so well. It just feels so TARDIS-y. It's slim enough where it feels like a proper police box TARDIS. It's sort of square enough that it feels like a proper TARDIS box. It's not too complicated, it's not too bland. It's got the perfect sort of paint wash on the outside, which makes it look worn and used. I just love it. I just really, really love it. And obviously we've got to give a little bit of an honourable mention here as well to the, and let's call it, what exactly we're going to call it. We're going to call it the Bradley Martin TARDIS, the one used by David Bradley and Joe Martin as their respective versions of the Doctor, the First Doctor and the Ruth Doctor as well. Both used the one from Twice Upon a Time, which is a recreation of this box as seen from the 10th Planet. So it's sort of a recreation, it's a modernisation, and if you want to use that as a go-to, I've put it on screen as well. That is also the best design of TARDIS that I've seen. I think it would be unfair to put them separately because that's just judging sort of modern day work against classic work when they didn't have as much of a budget. These guys invented this design, they made it look great, and that's why I love it, so I didn't want to separate it from the new one, which ultimately does look better. They are one and the same for me. They're a gorgeous design of TARDIS. If I were to have my own TARDIS, this would be the exterior design that I would go for. I absolutely love it. It is genuinely my favourite, and I don't think anyone's going to change my mind on that one. So yeah. That's pretty much it for me. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Comment below to tell me what your top 10, top 5, top 3, top 1, whatever TARDIS exterior designs are in the comments. Subscribe to the channel with notifications on if you haven't already. At the time of recording this, we're very close to 16k. We might be there by the time this is out. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. If you want to check out early access content on the channel, you can go onto my Patreon page, and for $1 a month you get early access, whether it be a day, whether it be a few days, whether it be a week. As soon as I've finished editing a video to go out on the channel, it'll go on Patreon first. So check that out if you want to get the content as early as possible. I'm trying to make more now, obviously we're all quarantining and lockdowning, so there'll be more content on there than there has been throughout the beginning of this year. So yeah, exciting stuff. I've also got a Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff, and that is linked in the description below, so you can check that out down there. And that's pretty much it from me. I'll see you all next time. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.